All right, we will begin with the overview of SQL Server and then move on with the data types. Okay, different data types that are available in SQL Server, and followed by that, we will take a look at the built-in functions that are available as part of SQL Server. And what exactly SQL Server is all about? It is a RDBMS, Relational Database Management System. Okay, it is a Microsoft variant. Okay, different RDBMS softwares are available, like Oracle, DB2. IBM's product is DB2. Oracle is Oracle's product, Oracle Database, RDBMS software. And MySQL, there is something called MySQL that is also now Oracle's product, okay, RDBMS software. Earlier, MySQL was an open source. Okay, now it has been made. Oracle has acquired that one. Okay, so long back. Okay, the MySQL. So various editions are available as part of the SQL Server. We have seen that as part of installation, right? You have the Express edition. This is what I asked you all to download and install it. And then we have developer edition and standard and enterprise. This is not related to us. This is for enterprises, okay? Because it involves a licensing cost and so on. So next one is the RDBMS. What exactly RDBMS is all about? Before we understand the RDBMS, first let us understand what is DBMS. So DBMS is a program, right? It's a software program. It enables the users to store the data in a centralized place. Okay. A centralized place in the sense, for example, you have data available in Excel file, CSV file, XML file, or other files, flat files, data available in your laptop, Windows system. People, those have access to your laptop in your family or friends, right? Even they can, they can go and look at the data that you have stored it in your operating system, right? Instead of storing the data in your operating system, on top of the operating system, we are going to install a software called the RDBMS software, MySQL. In this case, SQL Server, you are going to install it. Once you install it, you create the database. In that database, we store all the data. So in that case, right, if you remove all the data that are available in your sensitive data in your laptop, right, if you store it in a database, it provides additional layer of security. As soon as someone gain access to a laptop, they will not be able to see the data, the sensitive data. That since you stored that, into a database, right? They cannot see it just like that. Okay. Okay. So in that case, right, the DBMS stands for Database Management System. In the case of Database Management System, what we are doing is we are storing the data in the database. It's a container. Okay, and once you store the data, you will be able to manipulate data and you'll be able to retrieve the data whenever you need it. Okay. There are two types of the DBMS, Database Management System. One is the Relational Database Management System. Other one is Non-Relational Database Management System. And there are four popular non-relational databases. Other one is the Document Data Store, Column-Oriented Data Store, and Key Value Pair Stores, and the Graph Database. Okay. But we are going to limit ourselves with respect to relational database. Okay, so the database in simple term, the DBMS is nothing but the database management system. As part of that, we create the database and we store the data into a database. We store the data into the database. Once you store the data, you should be able to retrieve the data whenever you need it. And also you will be able to make some changes to the databases. Okay. But you need to have the right privileges to make changes to your table or objects, right? Okay, now what exactly RDBMS is all about? Relational database management. This is the one I discussed as part of data modeling in Power BI. So what is relational? What is relational? Creating the relationship between the two tables, right? Or amongst the tables. So in this case, I have an employee table and then I have a department table. Supposing your manager or someone wants to create a report wherein the employee name is salary and the department name to be displayed in that report. Okay. So in that case, for example, employee name, salary, and department name. They want these three columns to be displayed in a report. Okay, for all the employees or few employees, They wanted to create a report wherein these three column data should be displayed. But here the D name column is available in department table. Remaining two columns are available in employee table. Okay. So in that case, if I wanted to access columns from more than one table, so in that case, you need to join the tables, right? You need to join the tables. In order to join the tables, what should we do? What we have to do? Data modeling I discussed, right, in Power BI. To join the tables, what is the important prerequisite? Can I blindly join the tables? What is the prerequisite here? See, for example, see, the same thing I explained to as part of data modeling in Power BI. Those of you looking for a job, please work hard. Without hard work in this generation, very difficult to sustain the momentum. Okay, unless non-IT. Okay, but IT industry hard work is very much important. First of all, they are looking for technically sound people. Okay, and even we don't stay. In junior level, they don't stay more than 2 years in the same company. That is ideally good. Okay, though people say it is not good if you leave the company every now and then, every 2 years once they will look out for it. But once they become manager, they don't make frequent switches. But still, salary matters because IT industry, we do not know how long the technology will be there, which technology will be. See, now the Power BI and SQL, the requirements gone down drastically in the market. Okay, we cannot predict which one will be there, which one will be. So on the fly, you need to learn new things. Okay, so that's the reason I urge you all to please practice. If possible, take leave and practice it. Okay, so in this case, if I want to display the data from or call display the data from the columns, that are available in different tables, you need to join the tables. To join the tables, the important thing that what you need to do is you need to make sure that you are using the common column between the tables to create the relationship. If you don't have any common column, then you cannot create a report. You can go back and tell the manager, sorry, I cannot create the report because these two tables, I don't see any common key column. Hence, I cannot create a report because to create a report, I need to join these two tables. To join these two tables, I need to have a common column exists between these two tables. I don't have it. But in this case, yes, depart number is there, depart number is there. Not necessarily it should be the same name. It can be, some D number, something like that, okay? But they don't use some, weird name like this. Okay, listen, depart number, something like that. But here, depart NO, depth NO, but depart NO is there. But end of the day, so what value is there, what value is there, right? So if they say, yeah, depart number and depart no, both of them are same, then you have two common columns exist between these two tables. You need to join these two tables using these two columns only. Okay. So only when you join the tables based on the common column, you can display the columns from more than one table in a single report. Okay. This is what the report E name, D name, salary. Okay. E name, D name, salary. So here the D name is available here, E name is available here, and salary is available here. Okay. Since the columns are available in two different tables, right? So it requires a join. In order to do the join, you need to have a common key column exists between the table. This is very much important. Don't ever forget it. So next one is, okay, you understood. What is RDBMS? RDBMS stands for Relational Database Management System. So why it is called relational database? Data is stored in tables that are linked together via the relationship. Okay. So that is what called as RDBMS. The tables are linked together via relationship. Okay. So this is one-to-many relationship here. Okay, I explained you what is one-to-many relationship. Okay, and next one is what is SQL and TSQL. Okay, the SQL, right? It's a standard language using which we can store, manipulate, and retrieve the data in databases. Okay, so they pronounce it as a SQL, SEQL. Okay, is SQL, SQL. Some people say SQL, some people say SQL. Okay, it stands for Structured Query Language. It is a type of programming language called a query. Okay, so once you store the data using SQL, we can describe the data, manipulate and retrieve the data in relational database. Okay, so using the SQL query, we can communicate to the database. See, here you have the data in the SQL server. You have stored the data. Instead of storing the data in your laptop itself, you store the data in SQL server. And storing the data alone not be all end of kind of situation, right? Once you store, why you need to store the data? You want to use it later point in time. So how do you access the data that are stored in this table in a database? So we use the SQL or SQL queries to communicate with the SQL server. Okay. So in order to work with the MS SQL Server, we have to download and install the SQL Server and SQL Server Manager. That's what we have discussed at the initial stage of this training program. Okay. So using SQL query, for example, you have a table by the name of products you have created in your database in SQL Server. And in that database, you have created a table called products, and then you store the data. Let's say you are selling 1 billion products in your website. All the 1 billion products, you stored it in this table. Later point, if you want to query the data, you use select star from products. So SQL is very simple to learn because it is a plain English language kind of thing. Okay, it's not like Java and other programming languages. It is very simple to learn. That doesn't mean the SQL query is simple. Okay, compared to other programming language, it's far simple. Anyhow, nowadays the drag and drop kind of tools we are working on it, but it has some limitation. Like in Power BI, you cannot do even the simple data transformation in direct query mode. You cannot import the data because in some cases, in the database, some tables, right, like fact tables and all, it contains huge volume of data. Hence, you will have to use the direct query mode. The direct query mode, you cannot do any, even the simple data transfer, it has a limitations. Obviously, you need to create some stored procedure or write some SQL queries, and then you need to, or sorry, you need to create some views or stored procedure or stored functions. That one, once you create it in your SQL server, you can invoke that from your Power BI desktop, okay, using direct query mode also, okay. So next one is the TSQL. So far we discussed the SQL. What exactly TSQL? TSQL is specific to Microsoft software server, Microsoft RDBMS server. In the TSQL stands for Transact SQL. So this is again an extension of the SQL languages. Okay. So now the question is, what is the difference between SQL and TSQL? Anybody has any idea what is the difference between SQL and TSQL? Did you watch my previous batch videos? Previous batch videos, SQL and TSQL. Going back to TSQL. TSQL stands for Transact SQL. It is an extension of your SQL languages. So what exactly TSQL? Anybody has any idea? Yeah, TSQL stands for Transact SQL. Correct. What is the difference between SQL and TSQL? See, in the case of TSQL, we can submit multiple SQLs in one go. Okay. So you can create some batches. Instead of submitting the queries one after the other, you can group the queries together and then you can submit it at once. Okay. So that is possible. You can create a group or batch and you can submit them against your SQL server. Otherwise, what will happen? You see, other RDBMS, you need to submit the queries one after the other. The other way around is you need to use the stored procedure or stored function to submit multiple queries against your RDBMS software. Okay. So what they did, you don't have to create a stored procedure, everything. Using the TSQL feature, all you need to do is just group all the SQL commands, everything, and then you can submit it around go so that there is no back and forth. Okay, once you submit as a bulk thing, so like some like a couple of people you came up with some doubts. I told you to put it in a Excel sheet and share it with me so that every time if you ask me, I may not be able to, help you out, or maybe, right, whatever the question that you ask, the other person may also ask the same thing. So what we do is we consolidate the Excel sheet, all the questions, okay, and then what we do is we'll respond and we'll share the Excel sheet to you all, okay, so that I know what all the questions asked by various people, the questions, answers also we can see there. So similarly, right, instead of sending the queries one after the other, better you group all the relevant queries and then submit it in one go. So there will not be too much of back and forth. For example, you have 10 SQL queries. You submit this query and then it'll get executed and then it'll send the result back. And the next query will get, but there are cases, the queries itself will have some interconnection. For example, first I want to insert the data. The second query, in the second line, I'm going to use select star from products. Insert into products, will insert the data. And I want to select the next one. And before selecting, I have some condition. If the product table does not contain any records, don't execute the query, okay? Something like that. Okay, we have some written, some logic, everything. We'll group them, everything, and submit one go, and then we'll get the output. Okay. Otherwise, what will happen? Every time when you submit a single query, network, it requires too much of network bandwidth. Okay. So it goes here and executes here, and then this one. So let's say first you are inserting the data, insert into products table. Okay, that query. And next one is you are selecting the data. And again, after selecting the products table, right, you want to check whether the data or this table got inserted successfully. Everything is fine. Next, you are going to insert the data in sales fact table or order fact table. And then again, you need to write another query and select, something, right? So there are some cases you may have to group the queries. Okay. And in that case, the TSQL is very much helpful. Okay. So the installation part, I'm going to skip because already we discussed about the installation part. I believe almost all of you have installed it. Good that. Next, we will proceed with understanding the data types. What are the data type? First of all, what is a data type? It's nothing but the type of the data that a variable can store. For example, I have a variable called quantity. What is that? Quantity. It's a variable. So as the name suggests, it can take any value, right? So variable can take any value. Okay, it can take any value. In the case of quantity, what data type is that? So we know that even a layman can tell it's a numeric variable, right? The quantity is a variable, it's a numeric variable, and also it is a whole number, right? Most of the cases, it is an integer data type, which means whole number. Okay. Hence, we need to use the integer data type to the quantity variable or the column name. For example, it can be variable, it can be column name. Okay, the quantity is an integer data type. Okay. For example, if I say sales amount, what that data type is that? So in this case, the sales amount is a variable. Okay, so it can take right, but it can store the numeric data in it. What numeric data? That is your decimal data type, right? Decimal data type. Okay, so the variable is nothing but the type of the data that a variable can store, a variable or column can store. Okay, and see in the case of SQL Server, like other RDBMS software, all the other conventional data types are available. Numeric, string data type. For example, you want to store the first name, last name, string data type, date and time data type is there, binary data type is there, miscellaneous is there. Okay, and now we will see one by one what exactly the numeric data types. So in the case of numeric data type itself, there are two classifications are there. One is the integer data type, other one is decimal data type. Integer itself, big int, small int, tiny int, bit. So these are the different types of data types that are available as for the integer data type. Next one is the decimal data type. In the decimal data type, you have some decimal, money, small money, numeric, all these things falls under decimal data type. So money in this case, nothing but it's a data type. Don't think it is money. Okay. So here the decimal, yeah, we will go one after the other, right? So what exactly the integer, data type is all about? The integer data type takes anywhere between the values in this range, and we have another data type called bit. Okay, even that one also falls under the number data type. So the bit will take the any values, either the 0 or 1 only. It cannot take other values. The bit data type. For example, you have a gender column, you define with bit, okay? It can take either 0 or 1. If you put something else, it will not work, okay? So bit is also a data type. And next one, the decimal data type. So decimal data type, takes any value between these ranges, okay? If you store it, the SQL server, right? The decimal data type, right? It takes any value between this range. And the date time, when it comes to date data type, 1st Jan 1753. And between this range only you can store the values. Before this, you cannot store the value. After this, you cannot store the value. Okay. And because you see, we don't need 999 and all, right? We do so because we don't live that many years. Okay. So hence, they've given the range, the date also for the date also. Before this you cannot store. After this you cannot store. Next one is string data type. String data type, here we represent it as a char data type or char data type. So you can store 8,000 characters, fixed length Unicode character here. Whereas in the case of the varchar or varchar data type, here also you can store maximum 8,000 characters. But the difference between char and varchar is as the name suggests, right? So here the values will get stored based on the size that you mentioned for the varchar data type. Whereas in the case of char data type, um, yes, Buji, sorry, I just saw your message. Decimal data type is nothing but float data type, correct? But in SQL Server, we call this a decimal. But float is called we call the data float in C language and Java. Okay, here we call it as the decimal data type. Okay, so it's a fixed one. The character data types are fixed one. For example, if you specify character 50, right, you can store whether you store 50 letters in that variable or not. Still, it consumes it blocks 50 spaces. It's something like in a hotel. Somebody calls and reserves it, right? So I need 20 rooms. 20 rooms are blocked, whether they come and stay or not. The rooms are full. But end of the day, when you go and see, none of the rooms were occupied because on the way to Bangalore, they got stuck in rain somewhere, or on the end route they stayed in some other city because of heavy rain. Or let's assume that. Okay, so in that case, what happened? The Bangalore hotel, whatever the 20 rooms, they fixed it, booked it. That one will be still empty only. Yeah, even though some local people, when they come and approaches the hotel, hey, give me room. They say, no, no, already it is already. So anytime they may come. Okay. The character type is something like that. If you put 50 or, let's say the width of the character data, for example, char of 50, if you put, it will reserve 50, the Unicode character in the, say something like this, 50 means, it will put something 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, up to 50. Okay. It'll in the memory, it'll allocate space like this. Okay. And for example, a person name is Babu. Okay. And BABU. It requires only 4 digits to store this person name. But some person name is much bigger. But some people names are very, very small. Some people name is Sri, right? They say Sri. Sri or Sri. Sri is there in the call? No, she did not join. Okay. Sri. Okay, either they put SRI or Sri. Right. So Sri, let's take this one, right? It requires less space, but even though it requires less space, but it's all pre-allocated. The 50 characters, right? The array is allocated, pre-allocated. Hence, for example, the case of Sri, only three letters are, using the space. The remaining space will be unused. Other process cannot also use it. Whereas in the varchar data type, what happens? Even though you specify varchar of 50, and when somebody's name is smaller, SRI, in this case, what will happen? It will allocate only the three, characters related, space in the memory. Okay, rest of them it will free it up so that other process can use it. Okay, the varchar is that much dynamic, whereas the car is not that dynamic. It's a fixed one, whereas a variable length. This one, okay, the length will be variable. For example, some person name is very big, so obviously it will allocate space, based on based on the number of letters that are there in that name. But some is very small, it will allocate only that much space. The remaining space it will free it up. Okay, that is the beauty of varchar. And we have binary data type. Binary data type, you can store up to 8,000 bytes or so. Next one is so these are the, common data types, guys. So if you don't ask me what is big int, small int, tiny int, bit. So bit already explained is 0 to 1. Tiny int, for example, if you want to store a child's age, or sorry, the child's body weight, right? So in that case, or the age of the person, take, this is a classic example, right? Tiny int. The age of the person, it cannot go beyond 3 digits, correct? So in that case, you can use the tiny int, integer. It's an integer, this many number of classifications. The tiny int in this case, obviously it cannot go, more than 3 digits. You can give the size as 3. Hence, it will allocate only that much space. The remaining space will be used for other process to store the data or so. Okay. Big int, obviously, right? If you want to process or store the big numbers, then you can define it with big int and small int. Define different things are there. Anyhow, what we do, if you don't have to remember everything. The decimal and money, right? In the case of decimal, whatever the value, let's say you are doing some kind of computation, what the value that comes, whatever the result of that computation, right? That will be stored as a decimal. The decimal part, right? Let's say, you have 53.555565, right? That value will get stored here. The decimal part can contain huge values here, huge numbers, whereas in the case of money, it will store only with 2 digits in the decimal, okay? 53.52 or 100.23, something like that, okay? Small money and numeric, right? Actually, this is internally, they should taken care, okay? And they don't have to confuse with so many data types like this, right? Everything nowadays, we are in the AI era, artificial intelligence era. Everything should be taken care automatically. For example, only one data type, varchar data type. Okay, why confusing character data type? Okay, nobody in general they use char data type, right? Varchar is very dynamic, or give some string data type and you manage everything internally. Okay, if I store only 3 letters, you allocate that much. If I store 4, you can allocate, right? Something. Why so many data type? That is the confusion with SQL Server. But in general, they don't worry about all the things. Okay, it is also the responsibility of the database administrator to create the tables and define the data type, everything. But you should be knowing the common data types that are available in the SQL Server. Next one is the numeric built-in functions. What are the built-in functions that are available in SQL Server? Okay, for when it comes to numerical data. Okay, what is uh, ABS? ABS stands for absolute. What is absolute? Absolute. If you have any negative value, if you want to convert as a positive value, you can use absolute, right? You can use absolute. For example, you have a negative value, you want to convert as a positive value, you can put that inside the ABS. Okay, I just show you here. We have seen how to create the databases in the past. Am I correct? Hope you all remember that. You can watch my the initial sessions, how to create the database, everything. And the creating the tables, I will show you later. For example, here demo DB. I just select the demo DB. I'm going to click on the new query here. Here I'm going to click on the new query. So on the right side, you will find the query pane. Or you can press, you can use Control plus N to get the query window. Yeah, one second, one second. It is opening. Wait. Type select and the ABS minus 2.32. Okay, and that's all. Okay. As I'm going to give some, as is nothing but an alias. See, some people in the home, right, they have used some name, Babu, Mahendra, or something like that, but simply they use Babu. That is called alias, right? Similarly, here as is nothing but alias. Because if I just execute this one, okay, first we'll see what is happening. Select followed by that. The ABS is the built-in function that is available as part of the SQL Server, like a DAX function, okay? I'm going to click on execute, and here 2.32. The negative value became positive value here, okay? So you need to click on it here, execute. When you click on, after you write your query in the query window, you need to, if you want to execute it, you can select that query and click on execute. You can see the output, in the results pane here. Okay, there are two, panes here at the bottom. You have the results and then the messages. The messages, it will show you how much time it took to execute the query and one row of vector, something like that. Okay, and then results. What is the output of this one? Here, no column name. You can see no column name, right? If you say no column name, people will get confused. For that, what we do is, because we are doing some kind of arithmetic, we are using some built arithmetic or built-in function related to numeric data type. So in that case, what will happen is, this doesn't have any column name, right? Hence, it will not return any column name. To define a column name explicitly, followed by the as, you can say something like this, okay? So the numeric value, some name, okay? For the column name, meaningful name, okay? So look here, now we can see the column name, right? The as is an alias for this column. To select absolute of this one, the negative value get converted as a positive value. Okay, 23.22. 1 second. Sorry, I pressed some key. And what are the other functions that we have seen it? The absolute function and ceiling function. We have something called ceiling function. What is ceiling function? Anybody has any idea? What is ceiling function? Okay, okay. So I just show you some example here, okay? I just go back here, and then here we can see that a round is there. Round is straightforward. If you want round of some value, right, you can do that. And ceiling, is going to be something like that. For example, I'm going to use select ceiling, let's say, 3.43. I just select. You can press F5 key to execute that. So in this case, 3.43 became 4 now, right? 4. And the next one is the opposite of this one is floor. Floor is 3, right? So in this case, what happened when you see in our room, we are sitting in a room, right? So just above our ceiling is there, just beneath our feet, we have floor, right? Ceiling and floor. So as the name suggests here, what it does, it converts this value to the next highest integer. But in this case, very well high school we studied, right? So 3.43, if you round it off, how much you will get? You will get 4. So because I've used the ceiling, right? When you use ceiling, what will happen is it will round it up to the next highest integer value. So in this case, the floor, what happens in this case, when I do execute this one, it is again here also it is rounding it off, but it rounding it off to the the integer number that is similar to this one. Okay, for example, if I followed by the decimal number, if I use 0.53 or something like that, still it becomes 3 only, right? The floor, what it does, don't increment this with the next highest integer value, whereas in the case ceiling, you increment to the next highest integer. Okay, next highest integer, the 3 will become 4. Okay, but in this case the 3 will become 3 only. Okay, that is what ceiling is all about and floor is all about. And next one, the count I will show you the minimum, maximum, sum, everything. Okay, so now you have the tables here. You have the employee table. Where is that? Yeah, you have the employee table. Select count of star from employee table. You don't have type entire the name of the table. I just typed EM employee. I can see that at the bottom. I just select it and press enter, and I'm going to select it and click on execute. Now I can see that 12 records are there in this table. Count will give you the number of records are there in a table. Okay, so count of star is nothing but all the values, right, in this employee table, right? Count it, how many number of records are there. Next one is the minimum and maximum. Okay, minimum and maximum, I just go here on the left side, I just expand this one. Here you can see the first name, last name, and hire date. Oh my god, so here we don't have any numeric value. Oh, come here. Okay, so this is the basic thing. Okay, since I started discussing about select count or star from employee, what I do is I just tell you first, how to select a specific database using a command line. Okay, use demo db2, right? So demo db, okay, the demo db. So here in my case, I have so many databases are there. In which database I wanted to play around. First, you need to select the database. So it's use demo db, and then I just type something called go. Okay, go, and then I just select this and click on execute. So the command got executed. That means currently, we have selected this database. Inside this database, we are playing around with this. Okay, and select count of star from employee. If I use this, it gives me 12. And you can use select star from employee table. Select star. What is star? Star is a kind of wild card. A wild card. Okay, and here that means all the values from the table. Okay, here you can see the email, last name, first name, everything. Everything is there except the numeric column. 1 second, I just go here. I check. Do you have any numeric columns are available here? dbo.employee columns. Yes, we have demo DB2 as all the columns. Instead of using this database, I'm going to use a database by the name of demo DB2, because in the demo DB2, in the database, I can see all the columns for the employee tables are available. And here what I do is I'm going to copy paste this one. What is this select? Select is the reserved word. Okay, followed by the select statement. You can specify what are the columns that you want to query. Or if you want to see all the records from this employee table, you can use star from. Okay, select star from. Okay, employee, which table you want to query the data. So employee table, very straightforward, right? Very simple. Select star from employee. If you give this query, and then if you click on execute, it will select, it display all the columns, all the rows from the employee table, all the columns, all the rows from the employee table. Okay. Now what I do is I just go and select the select count of star here. Select count in the commission column. In the commission column, we could see null values are there, right? In the commission column, we have null values are there. So how many of you remember the count function that I explained to you as part of DAX? When I execute it, I can see only four values. Why only four values? Can someone tell me why it shows only four values in the commission column? Here we have one, two, three, almost 14 rows are there, right? Why it shows only the, when I use count on commission column, this comms stands for commission. So why it shows only four values? Why it shows only four? When I use count, see, I can use count of star also, right? When I use count of star from employee, what will happen? It gives me total number of records in my table. Supposing I want to use I want to count the total number of values are in a specific column, I can use count, right? So for that case also I can use it. Yes, you are correct, Chaitanya, sir. So here in the commission column, it excluded the null values, right? It excluded the null values. Which one is not considered? The null values are not considered, right? It excluded the null values. Okay, the count function excludes that means it takes into account of only the non-null values or non-blank values. Got it? Yeah, fine. So the count, you can use it like this count function and minimum, maximum, right? You don't need any explanation for minimum, maximum, right? So here I just use the min of, and I can use everything in a same query itself instead of writing multiple queries. Max of salary, sorry, I'll use COMM for the sake of consistency. And we have the average function. Okay, it is not there. Don't worry. Here you just type average, AVG function. Okay, it's already there. And here the commission, something like that. Okay. That's all, guys. These are called built-in functions, the min, max, average, right? We did not create any functions to find out the maximum value. We did not write any script. All you need to simply use the built-in functions like min, max, average. But here, no column name is displaying. What should I do here? So I need to give the alias as some meaningful name, okay? Minimum commission. And I just copy paste this in the interest of time. I just so max commission, average commission. Okay, so now we have some columns here. Minimum commission is 0 and maximum is 1400, sorry, 1400, right? And average commission is 550. So minimum, maximum and average, all the functions we have seen it. And exponential power is numeric. For example, you want to check whether the commission column, what is numeric? We already discussed, right? The DAX function, information functions. How many of you remember? So it says 0, 1, 1, 1, 1, right? So what is 0, 1, 1 here? So if you select here, see, first record is 0, 1, 1, it shows when I use the is numeric on the commission column. If you see the commission null, right? So here nothing is there and it gives me 0. And here 1, 1. Yes, it's a numeric value, numeric value. Again, it gives me 0. That means it's not a numeric value, right? Something like that it gives me. Use numeric is a kind of information function. It helps us to check whether this column is a numeric data type or not. The values that got stored in this column are numeric or non-numeric, something like that. We can use the information function like is numeric here also. And exponential, you can use if you want to exponentiate some value. You don't need the table here to play around with these functions. Okay, I select. So I just say exp of expression float data type. Okay, to sorry, two, right? Sorry, I just give four here. So it took the exponential of this one. And next one, if I take the power, you want to square the value, we can use power. all the built-in function, you can use the caps letter. And power, I just say expression, see, followed by the power when I type the open parenthesis, expression and power float, right? It gives me that one also. So what is the expression here? For example, I just say 2 comma 2. So what will happen is it will square the value. Take the power of 4. 2 comma 2 is 4. If we give 4 comma 4, 16, something like that. So power function is to square the value, take the exponentiation. This is an information function. Round is straightforward, and the floor, ceiling, count, all the function we have seen it. And next one is the string data type. In the string data type, these are the built-in functions are available. The numeric data type, we can use these built-in functions. Similarly, in the string data type, then we can use these data, these many number of built-in functions are available. Supposing you wanted to select only the specific value from a string, that is possible using substring. You have something called substring is not available here. Yeah, substring, you can use it, okay? And then trim function, you can use it to remove the leading and trailing blank spaces. And if you want to convert the string value from lowercase to uppercase, use this one. And your substring replace, supposing you want to replace the specific value, right? So in your string, that you can, for that you can use the replace function. And substring also you can use it, okay? But initially, start with simple and try to understand, okay? And we have concat function. If you want to combine the two strings together, right? So you can use the concat function. Look here, concat. We'll start with the concat function. So here, how do I specify the comment here? You can use double icon, okay? Sorry, double hyphen. Here, the built-in functions for strings. So this is a comment, okay? It is always a best practice, including the comment in your script, so that you can understand which one starts where, followed by that. Now anybody, when they see your script, okay, the strings related built-in function starts, from here onwards. So what will have the SQL engine, when it comes, if you execute this one, it will not get executed behind the scene, okay? Though it says something, right? It will not get executed because when the SQL server, what it does is it executes one after the other statements in your query window, okay? And when it execute this one, for example, if I execute everything, right, all the three I select, when I click on execute, so all the three got executed one after the other. So similarly, if I select everything, right, until this one, everything will get executed except this line, because when the SQL engine come across the double hyphen, it can understand, hey, followed by the double hyphen, text is there, I'm not supposed to do anything here. Simply, I can ignore it. Fine. So now we understood how to specify the comment in the SQL server. And next we will start with the simple function, the concat function. We'll start with the concat function, okay? Select concat. You can use hello world. So you want to combine these two things together, okay? These two strings, you want to combine it together, use concat. But hello world, yeah, it combined these two strings together, but it was not leaving space between these two. What you do is you can leave one space just before the word, or you can leave one space after O. So hello world, we have some space. But here, in this case, it is fine. For example, your manager gives you one big text file. You want you to combine, some strings together. In that case, you do not know, right? You cannot go manually, hey, leave space here, or you leave space here, so that when I combine more than one string, it should not combine together just like this. It should leave space, right? So in that case, right, it is not possible or feasible to open the text file and keep changing like this. But simple idea is you can either leave one space, blank space after the O, Or what you can do is, just before W, you can leave one space so that when you use concat to combine these two strings, it will get combined with a space between these two, okay? But this is painful thing, right? You need to go and manually you have to do. So we have some function called space function. In between, what you do is you give space one. Here, so look here, followed by O, or just prior to W, I did not give any space. When I hello space world. If you want to have two spaces between the two strings, you can use. So says the space function is also a built-in function using which you can leave space between the strings or so. So now that you learned what is concat function and what is space function and how to combine the string that we have seen. Next one is we have something else called concat, WS is there, concat WS, and we have some other functions are available, right? So data, okay, sorry, format, and format function is available. Your lowercase, uppercase, left, all the things. So for example, I just go here and select, here what I do is, I just use something like, left, sorry, select, left is the function. So in this case, I'm going to say SQL Server. Okay. And here I'm going to say some number. Okay. SQL 3. Okay. And then I'm going to close it. That's all. I'm going to select this. I'm going to press F5. So what is happening here? Since I mentioned 3, from the left side, it took only 3 letters, right? If you say 5, so SQL and followed by the space also will be taken into account 4, and yes, SQL space and yes. Let's say I'm going to give 6 now. 6 letters will be picked up, okay, including blank space. SQL is 3, blank space is 4, 5, 6, right? That's all. The same thing is applicable with the right. If you want to select only the specific letters from the right side, you can use the right here, right function, and it is reverse error, okay? So here one's blank space is there. That's why it is not picking a server. Okay. So server is 6 letters from the right to left, right? Right to left. It picks up the number of letters and whatever the number that you specify, right? That many number of characters or the letters it picks up from right to left, here left to right. Okay, it picks up the values. Okay. So there are situations here. Text manipulation is also one of the important tasks. You should know how to do the text. Nowadays, the text manipulation, topic gained lot of popularity. And for example, next, I just use the same thing. I'm going to use the lower function here. The SQL Server, the string or character, right, is a upper letter. I want to convert this a lower letter. SQL Server. Similarly, right, if you have some lower letter, if you want to, if you want to combine it as, sorry, if you want to convert it as upper letter, uppercase, you can use uppercase. For example, here I have SQL Server, sorry, SQL. Okay, I just select everything, F5. Everything got converted as uppercase. Okay. Uppercase and lowercase mixed is there. Even the lowercase, I really, if you have something like only the lowercase is there, if you want to convert uppercase, that is possible with the uppercase. That is also possible here. Okay. Likewise, now you understood how to learn the built-in functions. Okay. I just show you another example. Look here, we have discussed about concat and concat underscore WS. Select concat underscore WS here. Here, what I do is I just word separator. Okay, I'm going to use an hyphen here, and here I'm going to use SQL. Okay, I just press F5. What happens here? Followed by the SQL, right? Word separator. Okay, here followed by the SQL, you put hyphen here. Okay, so and if you have another string here, for instance, SQL Server topic one. If I execute the query, what happens is followed by each and every word, it puts an hyphen. Okay. So word separator, concat word separator. It separates each word, right? Using hyphen. You can specify colon, comma, whatever you want it. This is just for demo sake. What I will do is I will share all the queries related to these functions. You can give it a try. But there are certain things it will not be there. You can probably do Googling and learn it. So you don't have to do everything. See, in the interview, they'll ask you certain questions like, how to do the reverse. Given a string, how do you reverse it? Okay, there is a function called reverse is available. For example, when you use, yeah, so we'll use this one. We call this a palindrome. Okay, so it goes from right to left. Okay, if you want to do it from the right to left, what happened? First, it started from this one, the rear, right? The rear end, and reverse, and then LQS. Okay, so this is called palindrome. They use the term called palindrome. Palindrome. School time would have studied, college time. Almost all the students nowadays they have C language, right? Palindrome is nothing but reversing the word. So there is a reverse function. You can. So the other question is how, without using the reverse function, how can you reverse the string values? That requires a little bit knowledge here. That we'll discuss it later. Okay. And if you want to reverse a string, you can tell them reverse. You can use a reverse built-in function using which I can reverse it. And supposing you have something like the Malayalam, right? So Malayalam. In this case, obviously, if you reverse it, it will be Malayalam only, right? So right to left, again the same thing. Okay. So reversing the string, how to do that using reverse function? We can using left function, we can select the specific values from left to right. Right is the opposite. Lower and upper you learned, and concat you learned, concat underscore WS you learned. And apart from this, you learned all the other built-in functions. And the OR trim and L trim also I will show you. And that because certain things you should be aware. Substring also you need to be aware. For example, this is very important thing. Okay, substring. You have something like SQL Server. In each one I have something like okay. Here, instead of server is there, right? So what I do is, so I need to count the letters. So here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. The 8 letter alone. From the eighth position, pick up only one letter. Okay, what is there? If you want to select any specific, look here, B, right? So here in the substring, the syntax is something. So from starting position to, for starting from this, you need to specify starting point where you want to cut the value. From the starting point onwards, how many number of letters you want to display. I just want to pick up only one letter. If I specify 3 here, B or will come here. Likewise, you can cut the string. Okay, I want to cut only the specific letters or from this one, right? So you can use the substring function. This is very much helpful in almost all the languages we use substring. And L trim or trim is also a pretty simple thing. For example, in your string, sometimes what will happen is in the table data, they would have left space before the string. Okay, so in that case, what will happen is if you use the if condition, if a name equal to SQL Server, what will happen is since this string has a blank space before this, it will not, your condition will fail. Okay, even though you have given the SQL Server name correctly, it will throw an error because it will not throw an error. It will say the condition was false. Okay. So here, but in that case, what you need to do is you need to remove the blank space before the string. For this, we use the ltrim. And ltrim, okay, ltrim, you don't need any value to be passed. Directly you can give it like this, ltrim. And then if I select F5, look here, this blank space it removed. The leading blank space and the trailing blanks with no, you have something called or trim. Okay. For example, followed by the string, you have some blank value. That is called trailing blank space. This is a leading blank space. If you want to remove the leading blank space before your string, you can use or trim. If you want to remove the trailing blank space, you need to use or trim. Supposing you have something like that, leading and trailing in places you have blank spaces, you can use the trim function, TRI. Instead of using ltrim or trim, you can use trim. Trim will simply trim, which means it will remove the leading and trailing blank spaces in your string. Okay. And yeah, rest of them, you can give it a try, all the important functions. So you don't have to learn all the functions, built-in functions, hundreds and hundreds of built-in functions are available. So if you want to learn everything in 3 months are not sufficient, or 3 weeks are not sufficient. Again, it is not at all required. So replicate, as the name says, right? If you want to replicate the string, for example, you want to display hello 10 times, you can use replicate. Okay. All the sorry, the query I will send you, you practice that one, okay? So that we can focus on the strategic area instead of spending time in the trivial area, okay? But though it is trivial, you should be knowing those things. When you do programming, those kind of things are really helpful, okay? Next one is the date function, the date built-in function. This is very, very, very much important. We have something current timestamp. So now what I do is here, I'm going to put the comment here. And then here I'm going to say date built-in functions. And then here I just say current, select current timestamp. Look here, I don't have to type the entire name. It is available here. You can select it and then press F5. It gives you year, month, date, hour, minute, second, millisecond. Okay, it gives you that much information here. Okay, the current timestamp. And apart from this, we have various other date related data types are there. Okay, sorry, built-in functions are there. I just go back here and then here's some date add. Supposing you want to add 1 year to a date. See, the example here is select, let's say, I'm going to use the date add function. Inside the parenthesis, you can see the syntax here. Okay, here what I do is I just say I want to extract only the year from year 1. Okay, so I want to add 1 year. So listen, 2023. And here the thing is what month, 6, right? 6 month. And today is what is the 20th, right? So here this is my date. Okay, this is my date. But I wanted to add, one. I want to add one with the year alone. How can I do that? You can use date add. For example, if I select this one, 2024. This became a 2024. If I want to add increment the year alone, how can I do that? So this is syntax. Use the date add function. The first argument is what which portion of your date column you want to add this value. That is what it tells you. Okay. Similarly, you can, if you want to add only not the year, you want to increment only the month. You can use month here. Look here, the 6 month became 7th month. Can you see that? That's how you can use the date add function to, add so for your date value, if you want to increment the year alone, if you want to, add the value to your month alone, so you can use these kind of functions to do that. Okay. And we have date diff function. Okay. Select, but everything should be all the built-in functions, you have to use it, followed by the select statement. You cannot use it directly, okay? Here I just say date diff function. And here I just say, I just say the year, okay? Year. Mm, between these two, how many years are there difference? You can find out the date of birth, your date of birth also, right? You can give the current date. And here, so why it shows, for example, okay, so why 920, I just say 19, okay? 2024, sorry, this, it's not that. And here I should have used 24 here, year. Find out the difference between these two given dates in terms of year. You can use date diff function. So 1 year difference is there, right? You can specify your date of birth also. Let's say this is your date of birth and current date. It gives you how many year old you are now. Okay, that is also possible with date diff function. So date diff is also very much important because most of the time you will be using date diff in the case of time intelligence analysis, all the things. Okay, and then we have something called date from parts. Date from parts. Date from parts. Here, so using this function, you can return a date from its part. Okay. So here I just say 2013, comma 6, comma 9. Sorry, 20. Okay, date from parts. So here I just mentioned the year and then the month and the date, right? So year, month, date, I gave it separately. And what it does is it returned the value in the form of date data type. Okay. And next, yeah, so I just write the year, the current timestamp, date add function. What it does is the date add. So add here, what to add 1 year to a date, then return the date, something like that. Okay. And the date, I know this is the difference, right? Self-explanatory. From parts, it will convert that as a date data type or something like that. Okay. Next one is if you want to return a specific part of a date. Specific date from its part. So I just select here's something called date parts available. Okay, date from parts. Okay, date part is also available. Okay, the date part is really, really, really helpful. Most of the time, we'll be using date part because it has a lot of features in it. Date part. The date part, I'm going to say instead of month, I just say year. You use month also. The year, I'm going to use the year. Specific. I want to return only the year. You can specify year. Okay, it will return 20. You wanted to pick up only the year. Okay, no matter what date, month you have in your date value. So similarly, you can use month also here. So, the instead of year, you can use month. So the date part, I'll show you how powerful this date part is. The 6th month, right? I just because the rest of them are get date and all is there. The date part is very, very, very much helpful. You can see if you execute this query, you can see the output something like this at the bottom. Okay. You can get the year, quarter, month, day of year, day, week, which weekday, hour, minute, second, millisecond, microsecond, nanosecond, everything it gives you. Okay. So here, get date function like current timestamp, even the get date function also returns the current date. The current timestamp and the get date is also almost same. So here I just use the get date. Look here, it is already available. I just say get date is a function. Followed by that, I need to use the open and close parenthesis. You can see this one, right? But here also you can see that year, month, date, hour, minute, second, millisecond. You can see that. So get date and current timestamp. These two are almost same. So what I did in this query, the date part, first I use the year and then quarter, month, day of it, everything, right? All the the options that are available as per the date part, I used it. But here I have used the get date. So in today's date, you return only, pick up the current today's date, return only the year, return only the quarter, return only the month, and so on. You can try this query, whenever you are free. Okay, hope you understood what are the built-in functions that are available at a high level.